Warning, this is a review of the episode Daring Don't. That would be 69 of FIM. No audio, video clips from the episode are being used in this review, saying that they belong to Hasbro Studios and DHX Media. Plus, this is also a re-upload because of bad audio. Hopefully, it's fixed. Thank you for your patience. Rate, comment, favorite, subscribe, and thanks for supporting Code Equestria. Daring Don't, man. I love it when Rainbow Dash's ego gets taken down a peg, trust me, but Grace Daring Don't is better than that, than Well, the worst episode of the series that dealt with Rainbow Dash's semi-narcissism. But this one also brings up a rather controversial topic, bringing a fictional character from a fictional space and making that fictional character real in the actual show space. Let me explain. This is the part of the review where I spoil the entire episode. If you haven't seen it to this point, go on this thing called the internet, find it, and then come back to meet me. Otherwise, here it goes. Sorry, too bad. See, Rainbow Dash, as we found out via a Season 2 episode, Read It and Weep, is a real big fan of the Daring Do books. Think Indiana Jones, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Lara Croft stuff, mixed with a little bit of Harry Potter. In fact, the author's name is a play on J.K. Rowling. But Rainbow Dash has been patiently, well, not really patiently, but over enthusiastically waiting for the release of the latest book in the franchise. Something that, unfortunate to her dismay, she finds out from Twilight in a random holiday made from Pinkie Pie, that the book will be delayed 2 more months, something that drives her completely insane. Of course, Twilight is the patient one and is willing to wait. But we all know Rainbow Dash, waiting is annoying. So, with a little poke and prodding, Twilight and the rest of the Harmony 6 head off to the author's home. Once they get there, though, they find out that it's in pretty bad shambles and looks ransacked. When the author returns home, she's not happy of the uninvited guest, but the Harmony 6 aren't the only ones uninvited. An evil archaeologist and his goons have also stopped by to bug the author over something that she possesses. A fight breaks out and we discover that the author of the Daring Do books is none other than Daring Do herself. Of course, the Harmony 6 watch in amazement as a fictional character is having a real fight and only decide to help at the very last second. Which doesn't really help because the bad guys get away with the trinket. Rainbow Dash, wanting to help her fictional idol, decides to tag along, but Daring Do goes to the Batman Tony Stark school of I Work Alone, and she's got a queer PhD in the subject and is pretty much telling Rainbow to beat it. But after Daring concocts a plan to get the ring back, which, by the way, this is all explained with, quite frankly, one of the funniest back and forths in the entire series. Rainbow Dash and Twilight Sparkle having a book fan nerd off. See, Twilight was the one that introduced Rainbow to Daring Do, so of course she would know And this duel goes on for about 4 minutes and is actually quite funny, with Rainbow Dash strangely coming up the winner. But all that aside, we find out that the ring is truly wanting to be possessed by one of the book's signature villains, Arizodal, who looks like Anubis from Egyptian mythology. God, the writers love their mythology. Plus, this episode is also going for an Indiana Jones motif all the way, down to the small map sequence as they're chasing Daring Do down, similar to one of Indiana Jones' map transitions, which ends up on our end being a Pinkie Pie joke, seeing that she drew the lines herself with red paint. It's rather funny. But when Rainbow Dash gets herself involved again and ends up getting Daring Do not only injured but captured, her ego takes a severe blow and her self-confidence is shot. When the other members of Army 6 find her, she is more determined to go home than help out. But thanks to a Twilight pep talk, and this is really the first example in the series of Twilight's new role as more of a mentor and a guide, taking a step back and allowing the characters to kind of figure it out themselves while still being aggressive enough to say something about it. So when Rainbow Dash gets her confidence back, the group rushes off to help Daring, who, much like Indiana Jones, is in quite the predicament. But thanks to Rainbow, manages to get out of it. The two of them tag team long enough to stop our Zola's plan of 100 years of smoldering heat. That's it? Smoldering heat. You're just gonna burn everybody down, right? Not much of a take over the world evil plot, but I'll take it for what it's worth. It's very in the vein of Indiana Jones, of course. What follows is a pseudo action scene, and the action scene's pretty good for a show that doesn't really do action scenes all that often. The group of 7 end up saving the day, and Daring goes off to finish the book, in which Rainbow gets one of the first copies of. And she happens to be part of the story too, by the looks of the book cover that we see. But this episode also marks the first time we see the implementation of what Hasbro has now officially called the Harmony Journal. See, I was calling it the Harmony Journal in my first impressions video that, well, no longer exists, seeing that this is a proper review. But the lesson is about not putting your idols so high on a pedestal that when they don't reach your expectations, your self-esteem gets dashed. It's, in other words, to believe somewhat in your own hype. It's a good lesson of self-esteem and self-confidence, and it's delivered in a quite entertaining and fun way. But unfortunately, I would have preferred this episode be a two-parter. There was a lot of opportunity to expand on the Daring Do lore and connect the books together in some pseudo way, with more action scenes and more drama and interaction and growth between Dash and Do. But unfortunately, under the 22-minute time constraint, it doesn't really work out that well, and the episode ends up being rushed entirely in the first and second act, but comes to a steady conclusion around the third. It doesn't make the episode bad per se, it just makes the episode wanting more, in my opinion. opinion, Daring Do is quite the different character for this series, seeing that he actually gets physically injured, which is a first for this series, and the more aggressive action type is Nice. Orizoto, though, is a one note villain who's not really that threatening nor entertaining, even for a kids show. It's it's more the side henchman that steals the show in terms of villainy. I wish he was the actual actual villain. But then again, he winds up forgettable. Shoot, I don't even remember the guy's name. Name is so forgettable. And that's what largely this episode is going to be in the big term of things. Forgettable. It's one of the first real gimmick episodes of the season, but this one holds up surprisingly well, seeing what it's trying to emulate. It just doesn't hold up to the greater good of the episodes that have come before it or after it. That's why, in my rating scale, I have to give this episode yet a 3. And it's a low 3. This episode shows a lot of growth and potential for something kind of meta within the own series universe, but because of the 22-minute time restraint, it's not given the chance to really do so. Daring is a good Indiana Jones style character and plays up the role nicely with her self-confident demeanor and one-liners that are somewhat funny and with an attitude and edge. Plus, she's clever as well. Dash's blow to her ego might be rough for some to take, seeing that it goes from one extreme to the other, but at least it's better delivered and better explained than the mysterious Meridowell, which gives it a total plus. And all the rest of the Harmony Six play their roles carefully and don't overstep each other. And the nerd off, plus the kind of references to the wait for things, is kind of a callback to us fans, seeing that we had to wait 6 months for this season to finally get underway, and some of us were getting impatient. Luckily, I wasn't one of them. Maybe with another episode in S5, this episode will redeem itself, but until then, it's kind of a middle of the roadie. So, what did I think of the episode before Castlemania? Stay tuned to this channel later today and find out as our catch-up rounds out to a close. And make sure to tune in Saturday, slightly after the episode, when I give you my thoughts and a proper review on Leap of Faith, episode 20 for this season. If you've missed out on any of the new 26, make sure to check the playlist on my channel, or I'll have some annotations at the beginning of the video in the disclaimer, and a link to the playlist in the description. Until next time, my fellow equestrians, find peace in your own nirvana, and thanks for watching.